All right, current situation, motherfuckers. You are here at Warrior Strength. Special guest in the house, Nir-300 from Lotar Combat, flew in specifically for this video. We are about to break down the OREV-Gen4 Werewolf. Okay, so here we go. Let me get a close up. I'm going to explain the history of the knives, how we came to it, and how it developed. Okay, the Gen 1 OREV Deadliest Warrior was a 9-inch. This is what started the entire revolution of the OREV series with Lotar Combat. It is a gorgeous knife, 9-inch. The second gen, we came with one of our best sellers, the Sicari. The Sicari is an 8-inch version of it. There was a few updates on it, and there was the second gen. The third gen came with the Wolf, a 10-inch robust workhorse war machine. Okay, so those are the three knives put together. The three knives put together gave birth to the hybrid, which is the Werewolf. Okay, so watch how it works. The size of the original OREV Gen 1 5132 Deadliest Warrior is 9-inch, so is the Werewolf. So size-wise, we went with the size. There's a lot of operators that are using this knife, and when they got the Gen 2, some said it was too small, and when they got the Gen 3, some said it was too big, and they really said, we get the feedback from them, that they really like the 9-inch. So we went back to the 9-inch as the operating knife. Then you have, and I'm going to give the platform to Nir in a second, explaining all the specs. A lot of people, especially me, like the shape of the Sicari of the knife, which is more of a scimitar, and we kind of build it up on that as well. Finally, you have the handle of the Gen 3, which is much thicker, much bigger, because some people say they wanted a bigger and thicker handle. I'm going to give the platform to Nir in a second. This is the Gen 4 Werewolf. On the reverse grip, we made it the scimitar versus all the first generation, second generation, and third generation. That's one of the features that is completely different and more wicked. And Nir will give you now all the specs of the knives.
Hi everyone, so thank you for allowing me to explain a little bit more on the Werewolf. The Werewolf is, as Mike said, is a hybrid between all three. It took us about, like a year to develop easily.
At least
How
a
many
year.
nights? How many nights did I keep
Nights, hours, unbelievable. But it was all worth it.
It was all worth it because what we realized is that we want to create something that would be actual an incarnation of all three that comes into the most aggressive version of the OREV in its initial design. And the design was basically to always keep it something concealable, but also big and robust enough to fighting. That's why we've extended the spikes. We've made them equal in both ends. We've actually took that, just like the last generation, and we have made it symmetrical. So whether you have a choice to hold it on the scimitar side or on the catcher with a straight, you have the same grip here without compromising the comfort and the aggression of the ergonomics here. Another thing that we came up with, which was a late night, it
was at 3 o'clock in the morning.
3 o'clock in the morning, is this channel that we call the drainage. A lot of times, and this is something that's going to be offered with both G10, all-weather as Mike calls it, or in Israel we issue that with aluminum, just like the 4 grips that we do for the M4s. And we've decided that we're going to create something here to allow a full grip with an extra added friction, or traction rather. And when you hold it in this position, it's going to actually create a drainage all the way for your sweat. If you do some maritime ops and you have water, salt water, think about it. If you get bloody out of a fight, knife business, as Mike always says, is an ugly business. So if you get into a knife fight and you have some cuttings, this is going to create drainage, going to keep your grip clean at all times and create maximum traction between your grip and the scales. Another thing that is really important here that was a tribute for the Haganah members, and I want Mike to elaborate on that a little bit more, is the thumb brace. And this is what we call the leading thumb brace that can be held on both ways because it's equally. This used to be in the daggers that the special forces of those who created the Israeli special forces back in the 30s and the 40s in the British Mandate occupying Israel. And that's very helping for a spearing motion, as you can see. It's a tribute, but it's also part of the new introduction of another methodology of use of the OREV Werewolf. And the last but not least, we've introduced an all-new hollow fuller that is the first time that we've done an equilibrium fuller in a hollow position. It basically creates the grinding more streamlined. So there's grinding here, there's beveling inside and stuff. This allows a surface that is sharp of all ends from every angle, descent from this point all the way to the scimitar, from this point to the catcher or to the straight edge. And it allows a very robust blade, 6 millimeter thick CPM D2, that allows us to have grinding that is really not compromising anything and maximizes edge retention and toughness. As of now, the Werewolf is the only knife in Lotar Combat Series knives that has the hollow fuller, so that makes it extra unique. As always, we have paid attention for the jimpings here, flawless connection. That's why even on the 3D model you see that it's like looks like one unit, when in reality it's a full tank with 2 scales on both ends. The hardware is going to be easy to replace should you ever want to upgrade to aluminum, since in the US we're going to sell them all with the G10. And of course the Z-Cure, that is Mike's brainchild in Riot, and I'm sure he's going to talk about it to refresh memory of those who didn't have the pleasure to own an OREV previous, to be able to tie it from both ends. And there you go.
Yeah, let's talk about the Z-Cure. If you look at the first generation, we did not have the Z-Cure yet. Nir went to work on the second generation and added the holes for the zip ties, which was genius. He built up on my idea, and on Gen 3, those Z-Cure holes became much wider, so you're easy to put a thicker zip tie in. So on this generation, the Z-Cure holes, it's really easy to put zip ties through. So if you end up in a ride and you want to zip tie the blade to your hand, so if you get knocked down, the knife does not fall off your hand. You can start slicing and dicing Achilles's and calves, and the knife will never fall off your hand. Also, I want to mention that the knife will come in 3 different finishes. One finish will be what we call alata. Alata means what I call murder out black, or some people call it ghost black. So it's really tactical. The second finish is an absolutely, I think it's one of my favorite of the finishes. Is kind of like between those two. But if you look at, this is a Cobra, this is a Lotar Cobra. The finish is going to be like brushed, like really neat finish, but still keeps it tactical, that there's no reflection with the sun. And finally, there will be a finish that's the Barak. But in my opinion, both Alata and Arafel are really tactical. But the best thing to do is to get all 3 finishes. Anything else you want to say, Nir?
No, it's always an honor to work with you, brother. And I really truly believe that we've created the most savage wolf out of all the OREV series.
1000%. This is the apex of the OREV series. If you have Gen 1, Gen 2, or Gen 3, you know exactly what we're talking about, quality and about the ergonomics. When this knife is in your hand, you actually want a knife fight. So this is the apex of it. Available in 3 finishes. Soon dropping.